All right, so he's at 20%, but when you watch the coverage of RFK, he realizes influence on the race is far, far beyond 20%. We pointed that out last week. The Wall Street Journal followed today. Quote, the partisan press unwitting boosts RFK Jr.'s campaign. What good is a fact check from news organizations with a record of promoting ideology over truth? The author notes, like Mr. Trump, Mr. Kennedy gives voice to Americans who feel scorned, silenced, and dismissed. The video of a shirtless Kennedy pumping iron and doing push-ups over the weekend nearly caused a meltdown in some of those newsrooms. We found it kind of funny and reminded us of another shirtless politician who likes photo ops. Putin and Kennedy might be onto the same thing. Turns out the human mind processes images about 60,000 times faster than it does text. Kennedy's trying to make a point. And who better to decipher the body language than Patti Wood, written a number of books on this issue. Patti, when we look at this video and watch him in the still pictures and everything else, especially of him working out, is RFK as confident as he wants us to believe that he is?
He's really trying to communicate the charismatic factors, which are likability, attractiveness, and power. So the shirtlessness is to show what's actually the mythical golden ratio, which is the broad shoulders that are 1.6 larger than the waist. So think of that V. And typically the brain reads that as healthy male alpha. So there's a reason he has his shirt off. There's a reason he's doing the push-ups that shows power, strength, vitality. Those are two of the three charismatic factors. And then when he finishes this workout, he does a big smile, which is one of the major factors on attractiveness. And the research on political races says the candidate that's the most charismatic tends to win the popular vote. So this video is really working on those charismatic factors.
All right, so there's something to this, right? You know, the old idea of explaining presidential elections about who you'd rather have a beer with, just sort of the pure likability
Absolutely,
factor.
the smile, definitely.
The other side of this, right, is conceivably, if RFK is sort of goes through the primary and makes it past Iowa, New Hampshire to South Carolina, he's going to be running against a guy who a vast majority of Americans say they have real questions about in terms of President Biden's mental fitness, his ability in terms of physical ability to finish the job and finish the next 4 years. When we watch this, is RFK really as confident and really as strong and built and on as he'd like us to believe?
I think that was the purpose of the video. Whether he feels that behind it will show up more in debate situations where he's on the stage and we compare not just his body, but his voice. Though I will tell you, in a lot of the political research, people make their decisions about who they think's won that presidential debate in 10 seconds before the candidates even speak. Typically, they want the tallest candidate and the bulkiest, that would be like the shoulder width that he's emphasizing in the workout video.
It's really fascinating when you think about it. I looked at that statistic from 3M, who did the research when they came out with Post-it notes about how much faster our mind processes images and believes in images than it does in text or in words and on and on.
Absolutely.
I only thought here, and we can put up the video of him sitting with, at the chair. It looks like next to a river and sort of this outdoor thing with, a T-shirt on and on and on. Does this translate beyond, and I guess, to voters, beyond the fascination that everyone just keeps playing the video on an endless loop, right? That once you've gotten past everybody acknowledging what you just pointed out of the 1.6 ratio and everything else. Now I'm self-conscious about my waist size and my shoulder size, but I'm sitting here kind of trying to do the math here. Okay, if I'm a 42, okay, but I guess my question is, once you see that, does anything else matter, or does what they actually say then, does it only just sort of get somebody in the ball game?
It's interesting that you would say that. The impact, like our first impressions are typically formed in as little as 1/300th of a second, and they're very difficult to change once they're formed. So by leading with this video, he's setting a first impression of strength and power that will stick. I mean, it's going to have an impact. He's branding himself as an athlete. So if that's what's important to people, and the visual cues often do weigh more than what the person says, it's going to have an impact on how he comes out.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.